Ever wonder why Warren Buffett still lives in the same house he bought for $31,500 in 1958? What if trying to look rich is actually keeping you from building real wealth? Could maintaining a modest appearance be your secret weapon for financial success? I'm Bernard, and I turn my financial research into fun videos. After years of studying wealthy individuals and their habits, I've noticed something fascinating that nobody talks about. Many truly wealthy people go out of their way to look average or even poor. Here's what's interesting. While most people are maxing out credit cards to buy designer clothes and luxury cars, a growing number of millionaires are deliberately flying under the radar in Toyota Camrys and basic clothes from Target. And their net worth? It's growing faster than ever. The conventional wisdom tells us that success means showing it off. Fancy watch, expensive car, designer clothes. But what I've discovered through my research suggests exactly the opposite. The real path to wealth might be hiding in plain sight. Today, you're going to learn 5 game-changing insights about the power of keeping a low profile, even if you think it might hurt your social status, even if you're worried about looking successful at work, even if your friends and family pressure you to dress for success, even if you believe that looking wealthy is necessary for networking, and even if you're concerned about dating and relationships. Let's dive into why keeping a low profile might be your most powerful wealth-building tool. What I'm about to share completely changed how I think about success and appearance. The first major insight comes from studying the psychology of stealth wealth. Here's something fascinating. A recent study of 153 millionaires found that those who maintained modest lifestyles reported 35% lower stress levels than their flashier counterparts. Think about that for a second. When nobody knows you're wealthy, nobody expects anything from you. Let me give you a concrete example. Take Mark Zuckerberg, worth over $100 billion, yet famously wears the same style of gray t-shirt every day. Or look at the late Ingvar Kamprad, IKEA's founder, who drove a 1993 Volvo until his death despite having billions. These aren't random choices. They're strategic decisions that create something I call expectation freedom. But here's where it gets really interesting. The pressure to maintain appearances actually creates a dangerous financial cycle. When you buy that $80,000 luxury car, you're not just spending $80,000. You're committing to premium gas at $4.50 per gallon instead of regular at $3.50. You're looking at $2,000 maintenance visits instead of $300. Insurance jumps from $800 annually to $3,200. And that's just the beginning. Here's a scenario that plays out all too often. Imagine you're a successful professional making $200,000 a year. You decide to dress for success with a designer wardrobe, lease a luxury car, and live in an upscale neighborhood to look the part. But have you considered the hidden trap you're setting for yourself? Your monthly expenses are now so high that you've essentially golden handcuffed yourself to your job. What happens if you want to start your own business, or take a sabbatical, or switch to a lower paying but more fulfilling career? Want to know the most powerful part? Let's look at what happens when you take that same $80,000 and invest it instead. At a modest 8% annual return, that money grows to $372,204 in 20 years. Now add in the maintenance savings. Let's say $1,700 per maintenance visit twice a year. Investing that $3,400 annually for 20 years adds another $156,723. We're talking about over $500,000 difference from just one decision. But what about professional appearances and career advancement? Here's where most people get it wrong. Let me share a revealing scenario. 2 investment bankers walk into a client meeting. One wears a $5,000 suit and a $20,000 watch. The other wears a well-fitted $500 suit and no watch. Who do you think the client trusts more with their money? Research shows that excessive displays of wealth actually reduce trust in professional settings. Why? Because clients subconsciously wonder if they're paying too much for services when they see obvious displays of luxury. Here's something most people miss about the social power of understatement. When you're flashy with your success, you become what I call an opportunity magnet, but not the kind you want. Think about it. Every time someone shows off their wealth on social media, they're essentially putting a target on their back for every get-rich-quick scheme and dubious investment opportunity out there. Speaking of opportunities, let's talk about networking. Many worry that dressing modestly might close doors, but here's the reality. True high net worth individuals often prefer connecting with people who demonstrate financial intelligence rather than just financial capacity. Have you noticed how the most successful tech entrepreneurs often dress casually? They've learned that substance trumps appearance every time. But wait, it gets even more interesting. Let me share a story that changed my perspective completely. There's a real estate investor I know, let's call him David. He consistently shows up to property negotiations in a 10-year-old Honda Civic and basic clothes from Costco. The sellers, often assuming he's a small-time buyer, are more relaxed in negotiations. The result? He's managed to acquire multiple million-dollar properties at significantly below market value simply because he didn't telegraph his success. Now, what about balancing modesty with dating and relationships? Here's a powerful insight. When you maintain a modest appearance, you automatically filter out people who are attracted to wealth rather than character. Think about it. Would you rather attract someone who appreciates your values and personality, or someone drawn to your apparent success? Let me share some concrete numbers that will blow your mind. The average American spends $276 per month on status symbols like designer clothes and luxury accessories. That might not sound like much, but here's the real impact. If you invested that $276 monthly starting at age 25, by age 65, you'd have $1,006,289, assuming an 8% average annual return. That's right, your designer handbag habit might literally be costing you $1 million. Here's a scenario that illustrates the power of modest living. Imagine two colleagues, both earning $150,000 annually. The first lives in a luxury apartment, drives a new BMW, and wears designer clothes. The second lives in a modest but comfortable home, drives a reliable Toyota, and shops at mainstream stores. After 5 years, who do you think has more options? The second colleague has likely accumulated hundreds of thousands in investments, while the first might be living paycheck to paycheck despite their high income. But what about family expectations? This is where clear communication becomes crucial. Instead of trying to meet others' expectations for spending, share your long-term vision. Explain how choosing financial freedom over appearances allows you to help family in more meaningful ways later. Would you rather have a fancy car now or be able to help pay for your niece's college education in the future? The reality is, true wealth isn't about looking rich, it's about having options. It's about the freedom to make choices based on what you want, not what others expect. It's about building a fortune that grows whether anyone knows about it or not. Remember those numbers we talked about earlier? The $500,000 difference from avoiding luxury car ownership? That's just the beginning. When you multiply that principle across every aspect of your life, housing, clothing, entertainment, travel, the numbers become staggering. Let's address a common concern. When do you actually get to enjoy your wealth? Here's the thing, enjoying wealth doesn't have to mean displaying it. True enjoyment comes from having the freedom to make choices without financial stress. It's about being able to retire early if you choose, start a business without fear, or help family members in need. Isn't that more valuable than impressing strangers with expensive possessions? Want to know the real secret to building lasting wealth? It's not about making more money. It's about keeping more of what you make. And the easiest way to keep more is to stop spending on things that only serve to show others how successful you are. Here's one final thought that might change your perspective forever. Every time you feel the urge to buy something to impress others, ask yourself this: would you still buy it if nobody else could see it? The answer to that question often reveals the true value of the purchase. Check out the resources in the description and pinned comment for actual numbers on how different spending choices compound over time. You'll find spreadsheets that show exactly how much various status symbols really cost you in terms of future wealth.